Alright, we're back. Talking about Paladin. Paladin. Equally loved, equally hated by players. Because people play lawful good a little too stringent. They want to be crazy. As a side note, I don't care what the sheet says, all players are chaotic neutral. Just going to give you that heads up. But the ability requirements on the Paladin are stiff. 12 strength, 9 int, 13 wisdom, 17 charisma. We're going back to where only Chads can be the Paladin. Old school. None of this. It's not a core, so it's a hybrid, which means it's elite. You gotta go extra. In this, it's not just humans that can be it. They allow Cyclopsmen to be 8th level, and in some of my OSE games, I allow dwarves to be paladins. Dragonslayer, I would almost, once we get past our raw phase, I would allow dwarves to be paladins up to 8th level. Little Paladin Morden. And I know this is a throwback to a lot of people just playing WoW. I'll just be honest. That's how it is. Prime requisite, like all hybrids, is 2-part if you use it. Strength and wisdom. So to get the big XP bonus, woohoo! I don't use them. I don't use prime requisite. And the hit dice same as a fighter. D10. Decent starting gold, but kind of like a fighter. And it talks about how they're natural leaders. They're leader of men more so than fighters because of that high charisma. And they're also the voice of God. Frontline Holy Warrior is the role. So it's a warrior, it's a frontliner, and it's holy. Gotta be lawful good. And a lot of people don't like that lawful good. Weapons and armor. All weapons can use missile weapons, but they disdain it. Prefer to be melee and the best armor available. So it does a hat nod. Hat tip to Unathakana, where they became like a subclass of Cavalier. Forsworn. This is another one that's going to kill a lot of your players. And they won't play it because of it. Paladin must defend the weak and infirm. A paladin cannot commit evil or observe evil with indifference. Severe alignment deviation strips a paladin of all abilities, and they revert to being a fighter. Playing lawful good and having a code of conduct automatically disqualifies probably 75% of your player base from properly playing a paladin. And those that play paladins based strictly on abilities are doing so as a power gamer thing and not a actual RP. And that's where people get that bad taste of a paladin in their mouth. If you have a heroic group, a paladin's perfect for that. And I'm looking at this layout so far: paladin, cleric, monk, golden. That's a strong group right there in Dragonslayer. But I'm gonna skip over and stay on course instead of party makeup, fun theme groups, because I could talk for hours about theme groups. Vow of Poverty, they can keep no more than 100 gold pieces, and I'm having a hard time with the Vow of Poverty with the monk, but you can purchase things and then your excess, you only retain X amount of coins. These two I'm going to exempt them from carousing because they are highly lawful, pious, righteous people. True, pious, righteous people don't go out on the town and get lit. I'm just saying. Plate mail. There's a 1 in 10 chance that first level you have your plate and weapon, plate mail and shield paid for by church. So you make a paladin character. You go, okay, let's check and see if I got free armor, and that's like 500 gold pieces worth of gear for free. Possessions. Another thing that's going to turn off a lot of players playing a paladin. Paladin may have 1 set of armor, 1 shield, and no more than 4 magic items. So that's a little vague. Do you count the armor and shield, and that's only 2 magic items, which makes it very OSC? Or you say armor, shield, and 4 magic items, which would be 6. I'm inclined to the latter. It's hard enough to play one as it is. Lay on hands is simply once a day for 2 hit points your level. Remember, people divvied it up in old school AD&D and stuff, and just use it as willy-nilly as you see fit. As a house rule, I could see that. As a DM and playing this raw, once a day, 2 times your level. That's it. So you got a backup healer for that lay on hands. Cure disease is once a day, every 5 levels. So once at first, and then 2 at 6th. I see he's going more for the what people would look at. I usually did it at 5th. And it said 5 levels. I didn't count first. I just counted right up to 5. But you should add it on, technically. The difference of a level doesn't really matter in the overall thing. It depends how your XP is going. But you got to get 45,000 XP to get the 2 cure diseases a day. Rough. Detect evil. 60 fit. That's all they can do that round. That's what they're doing. They can't be doing other stuff in detecting evil. They got these stationary, concentrating. I think that's a ruling that made it into this game. I agree with it. It works. I've always done it that way. You have to focus. It's not an at-will ability. Protection from evil. Radiates pro-evil 10 foot. That's insanely powerful once you really read protection from evil. That means while that's up, people around you are technically immune to sleep and charm spells. And demons can't enter that. So unless the Paladin takes the battle to a demon, it can't approach him if it's summoned. Now, if he's in a different plane, that's a different story. They can run up on you. I need to double check and see if they do summon creatures differently and protection from evil differently in Dragonslayer, but I'm going on my personal experience from all other editions of the greatest game ever, and I haven't really done that 110%, so I haven't reread each spell one by one. Been taking it as it come. I need to do that. And they get the +2 to all saving throws, which is pretty handy. That's pretty powerful at low level. +2 on saves, saves your butt quite a lot of times. Lance specialist, and this is where it harkens back to the Cavalier. +1 to hit and damage with lance while mounted every 2 levels. So +1/+1 at first, and +2/+2 at third. Around 3rd or 4th is when you really have your characters getting mounted, when they actually have the extra coinage to do stuff like that. And charging double damage dice in this game is devastating. So if you're outdoors, I do recall after Unearthed Arcana, we redid Giants, and we destroyed it. We had dudes on horseback in there, and it was hilarious. There were giants going down, single hit, AD&D, lance charge. Bam. Just destroy you, you're dead. And they were dropping hill giants on a full charge, which was great. That Great Hall was cavalry running around. It was pretty neat. They ended up killing all the horses, but, it is what it is. Turn undead. At 3rd level, they get a turn, like a 1st level cleric, minor. But if you're in a whole group, 4th level, they get the summon warhorse every 10 years. 4+4 hit die. I allow special quests to where you can get different types of creatures based upon your order. So if your deity is a deity of magic, then it might be a magic creature. If you worship a deity of the air, there's a high chance that you're going to get a flying mount in the 4+4 hit die range. It should always, paladins, special abilities, and stuff like that, just like a cleric's, should be curtailed to the deity they worship. Righteousness, St. Yig righteousness, or Cuthbert is going to be your Crusader type, your Templar. So your classic Templar trope. But if you are worshiping a lawful good deity of the air, then it would be something like a giant eagle or something. Pretty awesome. Henchmen. Only lawful good. Only a lawful good henchman. Makes sense. Heraldic device. A paladin must create a heraldic device. Family crest, blah, 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 and must be unique. This forces an RP thing with your player where they have to make their own crest. Now, granted, most people are just going to Google it. They're going to Google something and rip it. Maybe change it up a little bit. But that is forcing RP with a nudge. It's called the nudge. We've got the nudge principle. Cleave. They don't get the fighter cleave until their 7th level. They're not a fighter. They're a holy warrior. So they get all the extra bonus stuff, but they don't get their cool fighter ability to 7th level. It's a good trade-off. I'm okay with it. Cleric spells, 9th level. They get minor cleric casting, spell casting. And it goes up to level 20. At level 20, they can cast 3 of each 1st through 4th level spells, which is not bad. It actually does not say anything under the description about single memorization. But I take that as being a standard. Like all hybrid classes, they do not get any bonus spells for high wisdom or int, like the cleric or the magic user. So what the chart says is what they get. I would rule that single spell memorization, since it's enforced from every other class, is the same for them. But it's your classic, dude. They've just made a better version, well, actually a stripped down version of the AD&D, so it's still keeping with the AD&D Light Paladin. It is always far superior to the old school Essentials Paladin, as it gets more abilities and it to justify that higher XP points. Same base attack bonus spread as the martial classes, so it caps out +8. It's not bad. It's not bad, but playing a Paladin's always been a role-playing thing. You can play a lawful good warrior and call yourself a Paladin without the bells and whistles, because people want the bells and whistles. And this one's pretty powerful. Protection from evil is probably the most powerful special ability that they give an NPC, a class, and I don't think people really realize how powerful that is. Magical barrier, wards against forms of mental control as well as contact with summoned creatures. +1 bonus to saves and armor class. From touching the recipient causes them to recall and feel fear. The spell does not preclude missile attacks. The protection cannot be from summoned being exterminated if the subject of the spell makes a physical attack. So yeah, you could forego it by forcing your little bubble on a creature as a paladin, but otherwise a summoned creature by an evil wizard is unable to even touch you unless you let it, unless you decide to go toe to toe. It's pretty powerful. Missile weapons, however, I foresee a lot of paladins being bullet-ridden corpses. But as a theme group for barrel maze, paladin, monk, and cleric is cleaning house in that place. Eventually, everybody can turn undead if you use the 3 times a day rule, and it gets +1 penalty progressively harder. You still have 9 turning attempts right there for a standard adventure into a horror-themed, undead-themed module, which should be devastating. Should be devastating. Should be awesome. Maybe I'll pitch that at somebody as a late night game. I'm trying to stay up later and fix my lethargy, but I'm having a hard time at it. The old ticker's slowing down, so I get tired. So maybe I'll do some open table evening stuff for that. There's still no Roll20 sheet that works on is good, but as soon as this one guy gets done with Foundry, I think he's going to do it. It's HTML, should be a big deal. I'll text him today and find out. So anyway, game well, game often. And when you play a paladin, remember you are God's voice, and if need be, judge, jury, and executioner. And evil ain't going to smite itself, y'all.